The JPL Open Source Rover is a lot of fun. You can run over some terrain that's much rougher than most other remote control vehicles can handle, and the rocker bogie suspension demonstrates how the rover handles terrain of Mars. But here on Earth, if we play with our open source rovers too rough, we will break something. And this motor came out of a rover that took too steep of a fall and landed on the front wheels, and this is one of the two front motors that have since broken. This assembly showed that 2 of the gears in the gearbox now have broken teeth, and that's why it didn't run smoothly anymore. And these teeth are far too small for most home makers to replace and fabricate. It's much too small for most 3D printers, even if it had the strength. So I went online looking for replacement gears. I can't find just the gears. Then I went and looked for the gearbox, and I can't find just the gearbox. The motor and the encoder are good, so I didn't really want to buy the entire unit. So the next best thing is Pololu also sells the same size motor with the same gear ratio gearbox without an encoder, and that trims some costs off of replacement. Some rover builders decide to upgrade to bigger and beefier gear motors, and that's a great option too if you have the budget for it. But if you only want to spend a few tens of dollars, we might be able to just swap out the gearbox. It just depends on Pololu using the same gearbox with the same vendor, so they're interchangeable. But these are mass-produced items. The odds are good, and I'm going to find it out if my gamble pays off in this particular case. I'm going to try to swap the gearbox. I don't want any gears to fall out while I'm doing this, so I'm going to hold the face plate and the center section with my fingers and then lift the motor out of there. Alright, nothing fell out. That is good. And on first inspection, comparing these two motors, it looks pretty good. The face plate looks identical, and more importantly, the spur gear on the motor's output shaft looks identical. So best case scenario, the new gearbox will fit right in on the old motor. There it is. Okay, we have swapped the gearbox. It's a very quick procedure, and hopefully it will work when we install it on the motor, on the rover.